Let's take a look now at routers. Routers carry information from one network to another network, so that every interface on a router is on a different network. Every router interface also has its own IP address on the network that it belongs to. The IP address, oops, that doesn't say IP. Let's take a look at routers now. Routers are designed to carry information from one network to another network. So you could say that every interface on a router then is on a different network. And by the way, every router interface has an IP address of its own. It is one IP address that belongs to the network that interface serves. And the IP address on the router interface is sometimes called the default gateway for that network, or I should say for the devices on that network. And broadcasts cannot cross a router. So let's take a look at some of these points here. I have, in this case, put in IP addresses, IP version 4 addresses. And what we have is I've got 3 networks here. So let me outline those networks. I've got a network over here that refers to this whole section, and that is the 10, we'll call that the 10 dot network. I've got a network here in the middle. This is the 200.1.0.0 network, as you can see right here. So this is my second network. And then I've got a third network over here, the 192.168 network. Now, if you'll notice, every router interface on a network has an IP address that belongs to that network. Let me switch colors here real quickly so that we don't get everything confused. I'll just go with a green color. There we go. Now, you can see here that I have an interface right here, and that interface has this address, the 201.0.1, which is an IP address that is on this 200.1.0.0 network. And then this interface down here has an IP address, 200.1.0.2. So you can see here that these, just like any device that's on this network, we don't have any devices on this network because it's a WAN link, a wide area network link. Anyway, these 2 addresses exist, at least, on this network. And by the way, if you remember back from your 179, CIS 179 course, you might recognize that this would probably be a /30 here, but we won't go into that in that much detail here. Over here on the 10 dot network, I've got some PCs, the 10.2, 10.3, 10.4, 10.5 over here, and I have a .1 that's on this interface on that router. So you can see that just like a PC, this router interface also has an IP address, and this is the default gateway. Every one of these devices would have, as a default gateway, would have 10.0.0.1. 10.0.0.1 default gateway. Every one of these devices would have the 10.0.0.1 as the default gateway, because this is the default gateway for this network. All right, finally we have another network over here, the 192.168.0.0 network, and you can see we have this interface has this .1 address, and then these PCs variously have 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, the default gateway that is assigned on this computer is what? 192.168.0.1, because this is the default gateway for every device on this network. They all have 192.168.0.1 as their default gateway. So that's how we choose the default gateway. Now, one more little thing I want you to notice here, and that is how many collision domains, and I know we've done this before, but it's good to keep harping at it, and how many broadcast domains would we have here. Again, let's switch colors just to make this thing a little bit easier to separate out. I'll use this nice purple color over here. So we have between here and here, we have one collision domain, collision domain, collision domain, collision domain, collision domain. We have a collision domain here, 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 and here, and one up here. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 collision domains. Well, what about broadcast domains? Whoops, let me get back to it. Let me switch the colors again. And I'll choose this kind of orange color. And we'll look at broadcast domains. Routers separate broadcast domains. So all of this is one broadcast domain. All of this is 2. And all of this is 3 broadcast domains. One little last thing I want to point out, and that is, as a packet comes into this router, let's say that this packet, or let's say that the destination for a packet that comes in on this router is 10.0.0.2. Well, this router up here doesn't know necessarily about 10.0.0.2. So it looks at this, goes 10.0.0.2, question mark, where is that? Well, it doesn't know. So it's going to send the information out to its gateway of last resort. It's kind of like a default gateway, but it's what we call it when we're talking about routers. And in this case, it's only connected to one other router. So the gateway of last resort is 200.1.0.2, right? Because it would go to this router here. Now, once this router got that packet, it would now know how to connect, how to get up to this address that we were looking for. I know this is quite a busy little thing that we've added here, but if you follow along step at a time, it won't be that hard to follow. But just remember that routers have a gateway of last resort, and each router interface that is connected to a network here provides a default gateway for the devices on that network.